Admiral stood on the bridge of the starship Eternal Dawn and watched the stars pass by the window. She had served in the Earth Defense Fleet for 23 years. She had seen many things during her service. She had seen pirates attack cargo ships. She had seen small conflicts between trading companies, but she had never seen war. Real war had not happened in over 60 years. The galaxy was at peace. That was what everyone believed. Her communication officer, a young man named Wu Jin, turned from his station. His face was pale. His hands were shaking. "Admiral," he said, his voice was barely a whisper, "we are receiving an emergency signal from Horizon 7. Felt her heart go cold. Horizon 7 was a colony world. It was home to over 2 million humans. Farmers lived there. Scientists lived there. Families with children lived there. It was not a military world. It had no weapons. It had no defenses. "Put it on the main screen," she ordered. The screen flickered. Static covered the image at first. Then the picture became clear. Wished it had stayed unclear. The city of Nu was burning. Buildings that had stood for decades were now piles of broken stone and twisted metal. Ships flew overhead, dropping bombs on streets where people ran and screamed. The sky was filled with smoke and fire. A woman appeared on the screen. Her face was covered in blood and dust. Behind her could hear explosions and crying children. "This is Governor Bai of Horizon 7, the woman said. Her voice was shaking, but she forced herself to speak clearly. "We are under attack. The Dominion has sent their fleet. They are bombing our cities. They are killing our people. We have no weapons. We cannot fight back. Please, someone help us, please." The screen went dark. Stood very still. Around her, the bridge crew stared at the empty screen. No one spoke. No one moved. "How far are we from Horizon 7? asked. 14 hours at maximum speed, her navigation officer replied. 14 hours. By then, everyone on that planet could be dead. "Set course immediately," commanded. "Send a message to Earth Command. Tell them what is happening, and send a message to the Galactic Council. Demand an emergency meeting." The Eternal Dawn turned and raced toward Horizon 7. But even as the ship moved at its fastest speed, knew the truth. They would be too late. When they arrived at Horizon 7, the ships were already gone. They had done their work and left. Took a shuttle down to the surface. She walked through the ruins of Nu. She saw things that would stay in her mind forever. She saw homes destroyed. She saw schools reduced to rubble. She saw playgrounds covered in ash and blood. Rescue teams worked around her. They pulled survivors from the wreckage, but there were not many survivors to find. A soldier approached her. His name was. He was a tall man with a hard face, but his eyes were red from crying. "Admiral," he said, "we have counted the dead. So far, the number is over 40,000. We expect it to rise." "Why?" asked. Her voice was calm, but her hands were shaking. "Why did they do this?" "We do not know," replied. "They gave no warning, they made no demands, they simply came and started killing." Looked up at the sky. It was gray with smoke. Somewhere up there, the fleet was flying back to their home world. They were probably celebrating. They had killed 40,000 innocent people, and they thought nothing of it. 3 days later, stood before the Galactic Council. The council chamber was a massive room on the station called Unity Point. Representatives from over 200 species sat in a circle, looking down at her. The council speaker was his name was High Lord. He had blue skin and 4 arms. He looked at with cold, golden eyes. "You may speak, human," he said. Stepped forward, she had prepared a speech. She had practiced it many times, but now, standing here, the words felt weak. 3 days ago, the Dominion attacked our colony world, Horizon 7, she began. They bombed cities filled with civilians. They killed over 50,000 people. Men, women, and children. People who had no weapons. People who could not fight back. She paused. She looked around the room. Some of the alien representatives looked uncomfortable. Others looked bored. High Lord looked amused. "We demand justice," continued. "We demand that the Galactic Council punish the Dominion for this attack. We demand compensation for the families who lost loved ones, and we demand a guarantee that this will never happen again." She stopped speaking and waited. High Lord leaned forward. A smile crossed his blue face. "The Council has reviewed your complaint," he said. "However, we have determined that this incident is an internal dispute between humans and the Dominion. The Council does not interfere in internal disputes." Felt like someone had hit her in the stomach. "Internal dispute," she repeated. 50,000 people are dead. How is that an internal dispute?" "The claim that humans were illegally settling on a world that belongs to them," replied. "They were simply removing trespassers from their territory." "That is a lie," shouted. "Horizon 7 has been a human colony for 80 years. We have legal documents. We have treaties." "The Council has made its decision," said. His voice was cold. "This matter is closed." Looked around the room. She searched for any sign of support. She found none. The other species looked away. They did not want to make enemies of they did not want to risk their own worlds for a young species like humanity. She understood then. Humanity was alone. They had no allies. They had no friends. In the eyes of the galaxy, human lives were worth nothing. "You will regret this decision," said quietly. Laughed. "Is that a threat, human? What can your tiny species do? You have one small fleet, we have hundreds. Be grateful we allow you to exist at all." Said nothing more. She turned and walked out of the council chamber. Behind her, she could hear laughter from some of the representatives. As she walked back to her ship, she took out her communication device and sent a single message to Earth. The message contained only 2 words: "They refused." On Earth, in a dark room deep underground, a group of people received this message. They read it in silence. Then the oldest among them, a woman with gray hair and tired eyes, spoke. "Begin preparation," she said. "Activate Protocol Silent Thunder." The others nodded and went to work. The galaxy had made its choice. Now humanity would make theirs. The first thing the galaxy noticed was the silence from the human trade ships. For decades, human cargo vessels had traveled between the stars. They carried food, medicine, technology, and luxury goods. Human traders were known for being friendly. They talked a lot. They made jokes. They shared stories about their home world. Many alien species found them annoying, but they bought human goods anyway because the quality was good and the prices were fair. Then suddenly, the ships stopped coming. A merchant named waited at Station 12 for his usual shipment of human coffee. The drink was popular among his species. They found it helped them stay awake during long work periods, but the human ship did not arrive. He waited 1 week, then 2 weeks, then a month. Finally, he sent a message to the human trading company. The response came back automatically. All operations suspended until further notice. Thought this was strange. He asked other merchants if they knew what was happening. They did not, but they had noticed the same thing. Human ships were no longer flying through galactic space. Ambassador Ho sat in his office on Unity Point Station. He had served as humanity's representative to the Galactic Council for 15 years. He had worked hard to build relationships with other species. He had attended their celebrations. He had learned their languages. He had tried to make friends for humanity in a galaxy that did not seem to want human friends. Now he was reading a message from Earth. The message was short and clear. He read it 3 times to make sure he understood. Then he stood up and began packing his belongings. His assistant, a young woman named, entered the office. She saw the boxes and her face filled with confusion. "Ambassador, what are you doing?" she asked. "We are leaving," Ho replied. His voice was calm, too calm. "All human diplomatic staff are being recalled to Earth. We leave in 6 hours." "But why?" asked. "What about our work here? What about the treaties we were negotiating?" Ho stopped packing. He looked at with sad eyes. The council refused to help us after Horizon 7, he said. They watched 50,000 of our people die, and they called it an internal dispute. They laughed at Admiral when she asked for justice. So we are just giving up? Asked. Ho shook his head slowly. We are not giving up, he said. We are preparing. Preparing for what? But Ho did not answer. He simply continued packing. The news spread quickly through the galaxy. Humanity had withdrawn from all diplomatic relations. Their embassies were empty. Their ambassadors were gone. No human official would respond to messages. At first, other species did not care. Humans were a young race. They had only been traveling among the stars for 200 years. They were not important. They had no real power. If they wanted to hide in their little corner of the galaxy, that was fine. But then strange things started happening. The Federation relied on human engineers to maintain their space stations. Without warning, all the human workers left. Within weeks, 3 stations experienced critical failures. Thousands have had to be evacuated. The collective had purchased weapons from human manufacturers for decades. Suddenly, all human weapons factories went offline. They found that they could not buy ammunition for their own guns. The great medical centers on Prime used human-made surgical equipment. When parts needed replacement, no human company would sell them. Doctors had to stop performing certain operations. Species after species discovered the same thing. Humanity had quietly become important to the galaxy, not through military power, but through trade, technology, and skill. And now humanity was taking all of that away. High Lord of the Dominion sat in his palace on his home world. He was eating a large meal and feeling very pleased with himself. The attack on Horizon 7 had been a complete success. Humans had proven to be exactly as weak as he expected. They cried to the council. The council ignored them, and then they ran away like frightened animals. His advisor, a thin named, entered the room. High Lord said, I bring news. Good news, I hope, replied. He bit into a piece of meat. I am not sure, said carefully. It concerns the humans. Laughed, what about them? Have they started crying again? No, High Lord, they have stopped talking entirely. They have withdrawn all diplomats. They have ended all trade. They do not respond to any communication. Waved his hand dismissively. Let them sulk, they are cowards, they know they cannot fight us. Perhaps, said, but our spies report something strange. Human military activity has increased greatly in the past month. Ships are being moved, soldiers are being trained, but we cannot see where the ships are going or what the soldiers are training for. They are probably building defenses, said. They are afraid we will attack them again. Hesitated. High Lord, I suggest we monitor them more closely. The silence concerns me. Threw a bone at his advisor. You worry too much. Humans are nothing. They are insects. We could destroy their entire species in a week if we wanted to. Bowed and left the room, but as he walked through the palace halls he could not shake his feeling of unease. In his experience, a quiet enemy was more dangerous than a loud one. When someone was screaming, you knew what they were thinking, but when they went silent, you had no idea what they were planning. In a hidden facility deep beneath the surface of Earth, Commander walked through a massive underground hangar. Around her, thousands of workers moved with purpose. They built ships. They tested weapons. They prepared for something that had been planned for decades. Stopped beside a massive warship. It was 3 kilometers long and bristling with weapons. Its black hull absorbed light instead of reflecting it. When it flew through space, it would be nearly invisible. An engineer named Sung approached her. He carried a data pad and looked tired but excited. Commander, he said, the Shadow Fleet is almost ready. 47 ships are complete. The remaining 13 will be finished within 2 weeks. Nodded, and the weapons? All tested and functional. The pulse cannons can disable enemy shields in seconds. The kinetic missiles can punch through any armor we know of, and the sensor jammers will make us invisible to most detection systems. Good, said. She looked around the hangar at all the workers. These people had been working in secret for 30 years. They had built this fleet without anyone in the galaxy knowing. They had prepared for a day that they hoped would never come. But that day had come. Sung said quietly, "Do you have family on Horizon 7? The engineer's face became hard. My sister lived there. She had 2 children, a boy and a girl. They were 6 and 8 years old. I am sorry, said. Do not be sorry, Sung replied. Be ready. When we finally move, I want to make sure we do it right. Put her hand on his shoulder. We will, I promise you that. She walked away and climbed a set of stairs to an observation platform. From here she could see the entire hangar. Ships stretched out in rows as far as the eye could see. Weapons, soldiers, technology, all of it hidden, all of it waiting. The galaxy thought humans were weak. The galaxy thought humans would cry and then forget. The galaxy was wrong. Had read the history books. She knew what happened when humanity was pushed too far. She knew about the wars of old Earth. She knew that humans could be kind and generous, but they could also be cold and ruthless when they needed to be. They had awakened something that should have stayed asleep. And soon, very soon, they would learn the cost of that mistake. She looked at a clock on the wall. 12 days until the fleet was ready. 12 days until Operation Silent Thunder began. The galaxy wanted silence from humanity. They were about to get more silence than they could imagine. The old woman with gray hair stood at the center of Earth's War Council. Her name was Director Bo-young. She had served Earth for 50 years. She had been a soldier, then a spy, then the head of Earth's secret defense program. Now she was the one person who knew everything about humanity's hidden strength. Around her sat the most powerful people on Earth: presidents, generals, admirals, and scientists. They had all come to this underground bunker to hear her speak. 40 years ago, Bo-young began, we realized the truth about the galaxy. We are not welcome. We are tolerated. The older species see us as children at best and insects at worst. They would destroy us if we became too successful. They would ignore us if we were attacked. She pressed a button. A hologram appeared showing the galaxy map. So we prepared. In secret. We built ships that no one knew about. We developed weapons that no one had seen. We trained soldiers in hidden facilities. We created a military force that could protect humanity when the day came that we needed it. She pressed another button. The hologram changed to show a fleet of ships. This is the Shadow Fleet. 60 ships, each one equal to the best warships in the galaxy. They have been hiding in dark space for years, waiting. A general named Ho raised his hand. Director, this is impressive, but to have over 300 warships, even with our surprise advantage, can we really win? Bo-young smiled. It was not a happy smile. We are not trying to win a traditional war, General. We are trying to send a message that humanity is not to be attacked, ever. In the training facility on Mars, young soldiers practiced combat techniques. They ran through simulations. They learned to use weapons that had never been used in real battle. They pushed their bodies and minds to the limit. A young woman named So-Ra was among them. She was 24 years old. She had joined the military after her parents died in a shuttle accident. The military had become her family. Her instructor, a hard man named Captain, walked among the soldiers. In 2 days, you will be going into real combat, he said. You will face enemies who think humans are weak. You will show them how wrong they are. You will fight not for glory or conquest. You will fight to protect humanity. You will fight so that no one ever thinks they can attack our people without consequences. So-Ra listened carefully. She thought about Horizon 7. She had seen the videos. She had seen the dead children. She had seen the burned cities. The anger inside her was like a fire that never stopped burning. After training, she went to the viewing deck and looked out at the stars. Another soldier joined her. His name was Sung. He was from a small town on Earth. He had a quiet nature but fierce determination. "Are you scared?" he asked. "Yes," Sora admitted. "But not of dying. I am scared of failing. I am scared that we will not do enough, that the galaxy will still not take us seriously." Sung nodded. "I understand. My cousin was on Horizon 7. She was a teacher. She loved children. She never hurt anyone in her life." "I am sorry," Sora said. "Do not be sorry," Sung replied. "Be ready." Sora looked at him. His eyes were hard but not cruel. They were the eyes of someone who had a purpose. "I will be ready," she said. Commander stood on the bridge of the flagship, the Quiet Thunder. Around her, officers worked at their stations. Screens showed maps, ship positions, and enemy locations. Admiral entered the bridge. The two women looked at each other with respect. Admiral said, "Thank you for joining us." "I would not miss this for anything," replied. "I stood before the council and asked for justice. They laughed at me. Now I will show them what human justice looks like." Nodded. "The plan is simple. We will attack 12 military bases at the same time. We will destroy their ships, their weapons factories, and their command centers. We will not touch civilians. We will not harm innocent people. We are not like them." "And after the attack?" asked. "We vanish. We return to dark space. We let them wonder, we let them fear, and we wait." "Wait for what?" "For them to understand," said. "We will not stop until every species in the galaxy knows that attacking humanity has consequences. Real consequences." Across the fleet, soldiers prepared for battle. Engineers made final checks on weapons systems. Pilots ran simulations in their fighters. Medics organized supplies and prepared for wounded soldiers. Cooks made meals that might be the last some soldiers would ever eat. In the chapel of the Quiet Thunder, a chaplain named Father One-Ho held a small service. Soldiers of different faiths came to pray, to hope, to find peace before the storm. "Many of you are afraid," Father One-Ho said. "That is normal. Fear is human, but so is courage, so is love. So is the desire to protect those we care about. Tomorrow you will fight, not because you hate your enemy, but because you love your home. Remember that. Hold on to that. Let it give you strength." After the service, soldiers returned to their stations. Some wrote letters to family, some looked at photographs, some simply sat in silence. Director Bo-young sent a final message to the fleet. It was broadcast to every ship, every soldier, every person who would take part in Operation Silent Thunder. "To all members of the Shadow Fleet," she began. "For 40 years you have worked in secret. You have sacrificed time with family. You have given up normal lives. You have done this because you believed in something larger than yourself. You believed in humanity's future." She paused. Her old eyes were filled with emotion. "Tomorrow your work will finally have meaning. Tomorrow you will show the galaxy what happens when humanity is pushed too far. You will not fight with anger. You will fight with precision. You will fight with discipline. You will fight with the cold determination that makes humans so dangerous." She took a breath. "They killed our people. The council ignored our pain. Now they will learn that humanity is not to be dismissed. We do not forgive attacks on our children. We do not forget the murder of innocents. We remember, and we respond." She straightened her back despite her age. "Operation Silent Thunder begins in 12 hours. May you all return safely, and may the galaxy finally understand that humanity is not to be challenged." The message ended. Across the fleet, soldiers stood a little taller. Their fear did not disappear, but it was joined by something else: pride, purpose, determination. On the bridge of the Quiet Thunder, Commander looked at the countdown clock. 11 hours and 43 minutes until the operation began. She thought about her father. He had been one of the original designers of the Shadow Fleet. He had worked on the project until his death, never seeing it completed. She wished he could see it now. She thought about the people of Horizon 7, mothers holding their children, fathers trying to protect their families, teachers leading students to safety, all of them killed by an enemy who saw them as nothing. "We are coming," she whispered to herself. "We have not forgotten you. We will never forget you." She turned to her crew. "All stations report ready," she ordered. One by one, the department heads confirmed their readiness. Weapons ready, engines ready, medical ready, communications ready. The quiet thunder was ready for war. And behind it, 59 other ships were ready too. The galaxy wanted to know what humanity would do after Horizon 7. In less than 12 hours, they would have their answer. The military base on 3 was the largest in the Dominion. 200 warships sat in its docking bays. 50,000 soldiers lived in its barracks. Weapons factories ran day and night, building guns and missiles. Commander of the Navy stood in the control room and watched the screens. Everything was normal. Everything was quiet. He was bored. "Anything to report?" he asked his officers. "Nothing, Commander," one replied. "No unusual activity." Yawned, ever since the attack on Horizon 7, things had been boring. The humans had run away. They had stopped trading. They had stopped talking, thought they were pathetic. A strong species would have fought back. Humans just cried and hid. "I am going to get some food," he said. "Call me if anything happens." He walked toward the door. He never reached it. The first sign was a flash of light. Then the entire base shook. Alarms screamed. Officers shouted. Screens filled with warning messages. "What is happening?" yelled. "We are under attack," an officer screamed. "Ships appeared from nowhere. They are firing on our docking bays." Ran to the window. What he saw made his blood turn cold. Black ships had emerged from empty space. They had appeared without warning, without any detection, without any sign at all, and they were already firing. Pulse weapons struck the docking bays. Shields that were supposed to be unbreakable shattered like glass. Warships exploded before they could even launch. Pilots died without ever leaving their seats. Launch fighters ordered, "Return fire." "We cannot," an officer replied. "Our weapons are not responding. Something is jamming our systems." Watched in horror as missiles struck the weapons factories. Explosions lit up the sky. Buildings collapsed. Fire spread across the base. And through it all, the black ships moved with perfect precision. They targeted military buildings. They targeted warships. They targeted weapons stores. They did not touch the civilian areas. They did not hit the hospitals or the schools or the homes. This was not random destruction. This was surgical removal. The same scene played out across 12 worlds. On Prime, the main shipyard was reduced to rubble in 15 minutes. On Station, the command center of the Navy was destroyed with a single shot from a weapon no one had ever seen before. On 7, a fleet of 100 warships was caught while still docked. Human fighters flew through the chaos, destroying ship after ship with cold efficiency. Everywhere the humans struck, the result was the same. Military forces were demolished. Their weapons were destroyed. Their ships were turned to dust. And then, as quickly as they had appeared, the human ships vanished back into the darkness of space. High Lord received the reports in his palace. Each report was worse than the last. 3 base destroyed. Prime shipyard destroyed. Station destroyed. 7 fleet destroyed. He read the numbers with growing panic. In a single night, humans had destroyed nearly half of the military. They had struck targets across thousands of light years at exactly the same time. They had used weapons that scientists said should not exist. And they had vanished without losing a single ship. His advisor entered the room. "High Lord," said, his voice was shaking. "What are your orders?" wanted to scream. He wanted to order a counterattack. He wanted to destroy Earth and every human in the galaxy. But he could not. His fleet was broken. His bases were burning. He did not even know where the human ships had gone. "Find them," he said through clenched teeth. "Find those ships and destroy them." "We are trying, High Lord, but our sensors cannot detect them. They appear from nowhere and then disappear. Our scientists do not understand how they are doing it." Threw a cup against the wall. It shattered into 100 pieces. "How is this possible?" he screamed. "They are humans, they are weak, they have no technology, they have nothing." Said nothing. He had warned, he had told him the human silence was dangerous, but had not listened, and now they were all paying the price. On the bridge of the Quiet Thunder, Commander received the final reports. "All targets destroyed," an officer announced. "No civilian casualties, no friendly losses. Operation Silent Thunder is complete." Closed her eyes for a moment. They had done it. 40 years of preparation had worked perfectly. Admiral stood beside her. The older woman's face was hard. "It is done," said, "but it is not over." "No," agreed. "This was just the first message. Now we wait." Wait for what? For them to be afraid, for them to understand, for the Council to realize what they have allowed to happen. The fleet moved into dark space, the area between stars where sensors could not reach. There they would wait and watch. There they would prepare for whatever came next. News of the attack spread across the galaxy. Species that had ignored humanity now paid attention. They read the reports with shock. 12 worlds attacked at the same time. Half a military destroyed in one night. Technology that no one had seen before. The merchant sat in his shop and read the news. He thought about the human traders he had known. The friendly ones who smiled and told jokes. The ones he had thought were weak. "I was wrong," he whispered to himself. "We were all wrong." On the council station of Unity Point, representatives gathered to discuss what had happened. They spoke in hushed voices. They looked at each other with fear. "How did they do this?" the ambassador asked. "Humans have been traveling among the stars for only 200 years. How do they have technology that we do not?" "They were hiding it," the representative replied. "All these years they were hiding their true strength." "But why?" No one had an answer. Sora sat in the medical bay of her ship. She had a small wound on her arm from a piece of debris. A medic was treating it while she stared at the wall. "You did well today," the medic said. "Her name was Min. You should be proud." "I do not feel proud," Sora replied. "I feel empty." "That is normal. War is not something to enjoy. It is something to survive." Sora thought about the soldiers who had died today. They were enemies, but they were also living beings. They had families. They had hopes and dreams, and now they were gone. "Did we do the right thing?" she asked. Min stopped working for a moment. "They killed 50,000 of our people. They bombed cities full of children. The council did nothing. What else could we do?" Sora had no answer. Commander sat alone in her quarters after the operation. She looked at a photograph on her desk. It showed her father as a young man, standing in front of the first Shadow Fleet ship. "We did it, Father," she said to the photograph. "Your work was not wasted." There was a knock at her door. "Enter," she said. Admiral walked in. "The fleet is safely hidden," reported. "They are searching for us, but they will not find us." "Good," said. Sat down across from her. "What happens now?" Thought for a moment. "Now we go to the council, not to ask for justice, to show them what justice looks like when humanity delivers it." "Will they listen?" "They will now," said. "Before they saw us as weak. Now they see us as dangerous. They will listen because they are afraid." Nodded slowly. "I never wanted this. I wanted peace. I wanted friendship between species." "So did I," replied. "But sometimes peace must be earned. Sometimes you have to show strength before others will respect you." She looked out the window at the darkness of space. "We are not finished," she said. "This was just the beginning." The Galactic Council chamber was full. Representatives from over 200 species had gathered for this emergency meeting. The room was tense. No one spoke loudly. Everyone watched the doors with nervous eyes. High Lord sat in his usual place, but he did not look the same as before. His face was pale. His golden eyes were tired. Half of his military had been destroyed in a single night. His people were afraid. His power was broken. The doors opened. Admiral walked in. Behind her came Commander, Ambassador Ho, and Director Bo Young, 4 humans, 4 representatives of a species that the galaxy had dismissed as weak. No one laughed this time. Walked to the center of the chamber. She stood exactly where she had stood weeks ago when she had begged for justice, when had mocked her, when the entire council had turned away from humanity's pain. "You called for this meeting," the council speaker said. He was a neutral who had been appointed after the crisis began. "You may speak." Looked around the room. She took her time. She wanted every species to see her face. She wanted them to remember this moment. "3 weeks ago I stood here and asked for help," she began. "I showed you evidence of a massacre. 50,000 innocent people were killed. Children, teachers, farmers, people who had done nothing wrong." She paused. "You refused to help. You called it an internal dispute. Some of you laughed." The chamber was silent. No one could meet her eyes. "So we handled it ourselves," continued. "We responded to the attack on Horizon 7 with an attack of our own. We destroyed military bases. We destroyed warships. We destroyed weapons factories." She turned to look directly at. "We did not touch civilians. We did not bomb cities full of families. We are not like you." His face twisted with anger, but he said nothing. He could not. His military was broken. His threats meant nothing now. Pressed a button on a device in her hand. A hologram appeared in the center of the chamber. It showed Horizon 7 before the attack. Beautiful cities, green parks, children playing in schoolyards, families eating dinner together, normal life on a peaceful world. Then the hologram changed. It showed the attack, ships dropping bombs, buildings collapsing, people running and screaming, fire spreading across streets where children had played just hours before. The representatives watched in silence. Some looked sick, others looked away. Then the hologram changed again. It showed the human response. The shadow fleet emerging from dark space, precise strikes on military targets, bases reduced to rubble, warships exploding in their docks. But something else was shown too. The civilian areas of worlds untouched, schools still standing, hospitals still operating, families still safe in their homes. "Do you see the difference?" asked. "They killed our children, we left theirs alive." The hologram disappeared. Ambassador Ho stepped forward. "For years, humanity tried to be good members of the galactic community," he said. "We traded fairly. We shared technology. We helped other species when they needed help. We asked for nothing but respect." He looked around the chamber. "We did not receive respect. We received contempt. You saw us as weak because we chose peace. You thought our kindness was a sign of fear. You were wrong." Director Bo Young spoke next. Her old voice was strong and clear. 40 years ago, we realized that the galaxy would not protect us, so we prepared to protect ourselves. We built ships in secret. We developed weapons in hidden facilities. We trained soldiers without anyone knowing." She smiled coldly. "You never saw it coming. The great powers of the galaxy, with all your technology and all your spies, never saw what we were building, because you were not looking, because you thought we were not worth watching." Commander stepped forward. She was the youngest of the 4 humans, but her presence was commanding. "I led the attack on your military," she said too. "I gave the orders that destroyed your ships. I watched your bases burn." His hands shook with anger. And I would do it again, continued. Not because I wanted to, not because I enjoyed it, but because humanity will not be victims, not now, not ever again. She turned to address the entire council. Let me be clear about what happens next. If any species attacks humanity again, we will respond. Not with words, not with complaints to the council, with force. Swift, precise, and overwhelming. She paused to let her words sink in. We do not want war, we want peace. We want friendship. We want to trade and share and grow together with other species, but we will not be attacked without consequences. That era is over. The council chamber remained silent. Finally, the speaker spoke. What does humanity want from this council? Answered, recognition. We want every species to know that attacks on human worlds will be punished. We want the Dominion to pay compensation to the families of Horizon 7, and we want a seat at the table when decisions are made that affect our people. And if we refuse, the speaker asked. Smiled, it was not a warm smile. Then we return to silence. We stop trading. We stop helping. We take our technology and our goods and our services back to our own worlds, and we wait. Wait for what? For you to make another mistake. High Lord finally spoke. His voice was bitter. This is blackmail, he said. You cannot threaten the entire galaxy. Turn to face him. I am not threatening the galaxy. I am warning one species that attacked innocent people and thought there would be no consequences. There were consequences. There will always be consequences. She stepped closer to him. You killed my people. You killed children. You laughed about it in this very chamber. Did you think we would just accept that? Did you think we would cry and then forget? She leaned forward. Humans do not forget, High Lord. We remember, and we respond. You should have learned this before you gave the order to attack Horizon 7. Looked away. He could not meet her eyes. The vote was held 1 hour later. The Galactic Council agreed to recognize humanity's right to self-defense. They agreed to provide compensation to the families of Horizon 7. They agreed to give humanity a permanent seat on the council. It was not everything, but it was enough. After the vote, stood outside the council chamber. She looked out at the stars through a large window. Ho joined her. We won, he said. For now, replied. But this is just the beginning. We have shown the galaxy what we can do. Now we have to show them who we really are. What do you mean? We showed them our strength. Now we need to show them our heart. We need to prove that humanity is more than just warriors. We are builders, we are healers, we are friends. She turned to face him. We won this battle with weapons. We will win the future with kindness. That is what makes humanity different. We can be fierce when we need to be, but we would rather be kind. 6 months later, the first human trade ships returned to galactic space. They carried food and medicine and technology. They brought help to worlds that needed it. The humans who flew those ships were different from before. They were still friendly. They still told jokes. They still shared stories about Earth. But there was something new in their eyes, a quiet confidence, a knowledge that humanity had proven itself. On Horizon 7, the cities were being rebuilt. New buildings rose from the ashes. New parks replaced the burned ones. New schools opened their doors. A memorial stood in the center of New. It bore the names of every person who had died in the attack, 53,000 names carved in stone. At the bottom of the memorial there was an inscription. It read, "They were not forgotten, they will never be forgotten, and those who took them learned the cost of their actions." Admiral visited the memorial 1 year after the attack. She placed flowers at its base and stood in silence for a long time. "We did it," she whispered. "The galaxy listened, the galaxy remembered, and humanity survived." She looked up at the sky. Somewhere up there, stars were shining. Somewhere up there, species were learning to respect the small blue planet called Earth. Humanity had sent a message. The galaxy had received it, and the universe would never see humanity the same way again.